Thank you very much for inviting me here this evening to read. It's the second time I've read for the Active Retirement Association, and you're always a lovely audience, so I'm looking forward to this. Tonight I'm going to read 2 poems from my first collection of poems, and I'm going to give you a selection of new poems, some of which will be in the new book. Okay, the first poem, The Problem with Coats. Lies in what cupboard you'll find yourself hanging in, whether you take them off or keep them on. They came from Purge's seamed fitters, along with the trouser, and settled as nouns. I like to choose my coats from the rails of second-hand shops. Vincent de Paul is the best for everything end of season. I'd like to be my own designer, but what of the other wearers? The tailcoat met the lion skin and called it savagery. The morning coat met the suffragette, who called it inequality. The coatless met the landlords and called for democracy. That's the problem with coats, the way a simple naming can switch them into scapegoats. The only ones worth wearing are the colour of 2 magpies clacking from the top of rainbow trees. The next poem I'm going to read is a short poem. It's called Enchantment. You were sitting on the shoreline as I embraced white horses jumping past the 9 maidens. The 7 snails we stepped on ghost walk the sanded path behind the canavocks. You strained to sky glide with hawks hung in cloudless air as I followed goldfinches towards 3 stone stiles that gifted early berries and a while to pause before 5 red ponies drummed down empty fields to chase us back onto the spiral path, where webs caught drops of dew and filaments of light harvested like honey against winter storms in Fisherman's Cove. In a dark and dripping cave, beams cannot reach our treasured feathers. Pirate guardians light beacon fires to spirit lure us back again to Gwythian, oh Gwythian. Let's see if I can see. When I first started, when this book was first published, I realised I would have to perform in various venues, which I had forgotten about when I wrote the book. And so I went on Google and I Googled all the different places in Ireland that you could go to read. And one of those was in Galway, a place called Over the Edge, run by Kevin Higgins and Susan Miller-Demars. And I did eventually get to read in Galway, but not before this happened. And this is the subject of this poem, The Talisman. It began with a missed bus, like all bad starts, a change of route and change of time to reach the place poets perform on open mic I found on Google. The ticket was a tenner cheaper too with Fada. Despite the hype, the private is the road to go. But then we met Joe Public on his protest march, and Fada breaks at another public-private impasse as we customers crane against the panes to see what we can see, but drizzle blurs the view and mist fogs glass. Anyway, it's nothing like Greece or footage of the North Sea when we won't meant know. The lights flicker on and off, the road is cleared, and we, like Red Riding Hood, don't appear to see the wolf for what it is and let it in the door. All good things come to an end, and so we arrive at last into Eyre Square at 9:30. The time, where did it go? Had we an X-File moment? Like all out-of-body moments, the lights and then the smells. The booths brandish tidbits from all around the globe, but it's a crepe green globe hanging from one bare branch that steals the show as I hop-skip along the path and, just like Red Riding Hood, don't appear to see. Outside the library I stand in disbelief. The lights are on, but no one's home, as they do say. The show is over. It's all been one huge waste of time. And so I wander back to those coloured green globes, to stand and wonder what to do and where to go. You know, it's as easy as theft to see you're lost. This from a rainbow-hatted man beneath the tree. Now what to say when met with what could be the last of leprechauns and him beneath the crepe green globe? The corner over there, there's cheap places to stay. Well, thanks and no, I'm not lost, just wrong place, wrong time. But this is where you're meant to be. Well done, welcome. Every story has its riddle, this then was mine. A door, yellow, led up a flight of wooden stairs. The price €15, well cheap, and tea was free. The place was home to quite a few on waiting lists for homes, the ones you wait decades for unless you die, and then you're free to stay forever in a ghost estate. Instead of which you wait in line at soup kitchens or wander round and round the streets and towns until, like all out-of-body moments, they seem the same. In that kitchen I might have made a friend or two, but screenshots of a white, fluffy puff cloud in chase and eating its quarry, a man beside a bus stop, sent me back out onto the street to smoke and stamp my feet and watch the green globe. It began with another missed bus. This time the time was right, the place was wrong, the drop-off place was not the pick-up place. I had to find the church and joy of joys, a bus was there but not my bus would leave at 1. I had 3 hours to kill. A river walk, perhaps, except it's brambled over. The way I walk cities is to follow the names of roads I like Buttercup Alley, which leads to luck at last, a crock of gold at Rainbow's End, Charlie Burns' bookshop, a place to remember. I find a slim volume, only a few euro, The Poetry of Swift, with an intro by Colm, and God, oh God, it's signed by Colm himself. On Shop Street, I hear that sound symbol of his time, a deep and baying bray from an Asselbug do. It brayed, beside it a black cauldron only held copper coins. I patted him, a ban passed, the bray he gave would put the heart across a stone. She threw a note into the old black pot and sighed, we all get old one day, and walked away. The donkey sighed, I sighed, his owner sighed as well. We don't get what we used to get, now it's all stag. Now that the stag is here, Asselbug got the boot. And as I share my crisps with them, I see in time that all the shop windows are full of golden stags, but it's the crepe green globe swinging from one gold string that steals the show and is the wolf in sheep's clothing. On Shop Street, I see that new symbol of our time, and know the way back home will need a talisman, a brown paper bag in which lies metric magic, to journey with me always, symbol of who I am. 2 years ago, my aunt, Sister Margaret Rosaire, who travelled all the way today on the bus from Bundoran to hear me read and to attend the show, it was her birthday. She was 80. Yeah. Myself, my mum, and my 2 aunts, Auntie Ethna Conliffe and Eilish McAniff, we all went to Derry, and I wrote a poem about it. And it's called The Moment. On the 20th of April, a butterfly, 2 books, a wing, and a pink beret were seen fluttering and flicking, entering and leaving many, if not most, of the shops in Derry's Foyle side. Not since the ceasefire, not since Good Friday, have the images not caught on camera been so surreal, but 3 eyewitnesses remain as evidence, along with the till receipts showing proof of presence. Over dinner in Fitzroy's, as look back in time is served along with wine, the waitress clocks 2 other guests squeeze in along the seats. The butterfly, 2 books, a wing and a pink beret are sat carrying a suitcase and wearing vintage hats. Not since they were boarders, not since they closed the border checkpoints, have the words not caught on tape been so clear. Your face is your fortune, and they laugh a little but not a lot at their old ma's lack of tact. This is the moment when a replica of Monet's water lilies recalls summers past, beneath the bedclothes, a brook of words from the holy book that she became. Beside her in the bed, her sister packs with pink berets the birthday suitcase. Not since DDT, not since Dad chose their courses, have the years between here and there seemed so near. Anyways, medicine wouldn't have suited religious life, taught in English only, not for us scoliacs. On this occasion, the wing who flew down the stairs of Mount Fortwell watches the butterfly sip nectar from the flower of the day on the journey back. Not since then, not since then. Have those moments, will those moments come again? Unless a book's lines remain as evidence of a book's 80th birthday in Derry's Foyleside. My next collection looks at a lot of beliefs. One person's belief is another person's lie, is another person's truth. And therein lies the whole history of human conflict. This poem is about when my mother decided that she would tell the truth. And it's very difficult to use full rhyme in poetry because it's sort of, you have to have a very good reason for it. So I've used terza rima, I've used full rhyme, and I've used the fact that when my mother was little, it was a long time ago, and it popped in full rhyme, okay? Okay, so it's called The Truth About Lies. Heavy hedges soft as summer prime. She was just 6 and sent to buy the jam. Running along the road, she sniffs wild thyme. The local bustard says jars and jars of jams, and she'll get a taste before the rest of them appear like wasps around her jam. Outside the door, swallows wing paint their nest. Dust motes swirl as Mr. B records amount and debtor of this small bequest. But not the red-berried succulent reward, but gooseberry sour, sold all the others. Dawdling dreary along the hedge affords. After having gone to all this bother, only the shrew or vole would know the truth. None left, all gone, is what she told her mother. But her father was another sweet tooth. She knew he'd go, he'd get that pot of gold. So much for those stories of super sleuths. This time her jam is all that she foretold. And if it's true that sin misses the mark, she's hit the bullseye with her truth untold. But like the hush before a birth, a spark as sweet as jam, a vow to tell the truth instead of lying lost in hedge dark. It's quite difficult to choose what poems to read, but this poem was longlisted last year for the Gregory O'Donoghue International Poetry Prize. And I used to live in France, and every Sunday they had a hunt, and it was called La Chasse, and I didn't expect to get involved in a La Chasse in Ballymacroo, in Letterkenny, which is where I live. So this poem is called La Chasse. I draw the morning in, the cat's on high alert, a man intent and wrapped and bald fine combs the lawn. We press against the glass, the cat and I, and wait to see if we can just what he's at all. And then he turns, a toad-like turn, his bag of swag half full, plastic, tied in knots around a wrist so tight the hand has lost its likeness to itself, and is indeed a new life form. The cat withdraws. The snoop across the street is at the blinds. Top price those blinds, but still you have to lift them up to see just what in hell your one across the way is at. But then I see the hand approach to curl around the X that marks the spot and see just what he wants. No way, that's mine, I shout and bang the glass and curse the broken lock. Then grab the broom and dash outside, the toad, the swag, the broom and I. Between us both, the last of the harvest. A gift to wet palates. Quarry well worth the hunt. Not just any mushroom, the queen of fields herself no less, and there we stood, the toad, the swag, the broom and I, the queen of fields. I yell my sex, he stands and bows, tells words of place I cannot place in space or places he retreats. The snoop across the street is on his phone, his ship has just arrived, gossip so good it tastes. The cat surveys the scene, I kneel and see it too, a small forest all felled, only the stalks remain. So this is how it is between a man, nature, a toad, a broom, a cat, a hunter, and his quarry. The local talk was all of not the normal thieves, of where and what to watch out for in these hard times. A shade for little folk, the queen remained alone. From dawn to dusk she stood intent upon revenge. Slowly, nutsos you'd see unless your eye was set to see, they reappeared, one by one by one, until the lawns were full again. Although the snoop across the street had bought the town out of poisons, this time the lines were better drawn. The dawn patrolled. The rules have changed. Hunters now pursued. But still, I know that until lions learn to ride the hunt, the chase is what it is that whets the toad's appetite. And I sort of, reading up on the famine, which most writers do on any history that has been of great import to the country in which you live, I read that we received help from some unusual sources. The Sultan of Turkey, the Tsar of Russia, the slave churches, Calcutta, Quakers, a relief association headed by Lionel de Rothschild, who sent money in from Russia, Cuba, and all around the world. But the one that interested me the most was those who gave who had the least to give. And they were the Choctaw, the Native American Indians, the Choctaw Nation. And in 1847 they took up a collection, and despite their meagre resources, they collected $170 and forwarded it to us. It was both the most unlikely and the most generous contribution in the effort to relieve Ireland's suffering. Now, 16 years before that, President Andrew Jackson, whose parents emigrated from Antrim, took the lands of the Chickasaw, the Cherokee, the Creek, the Seminole, and the Choctaw, and forced them to undertake a harrowing 500-mile trek to Oklahoma known as the Trail of Tears. And more than half perished from exposure, malnutrition, and disease. In 1990, a delegation of Native American Indians was invited to participate in an annual walk in County Mayo in Lewisburg, and President Mary Robinson was awarded the title of Honorary Chief. And I have chosen to write this poem, whose central character is called One Who Sees as a Bird. One who sees as a bird was Choctaw warrior back in the day when he saw tops of buckled trees as ovoids, and bee swarms that drank from flower meadows between the hours of 10 and 12 were clocks. Winner of the race across the plains, ally of magpie, hawk, and meadowlark, drummer for Sundance gatherings as pierced dancers dressed as spirits were offerings. Went to ghost on the Trail of Tears, where Wakantanka took him to Magpie, who brought him back to witness days of giveaway when birthrights were exchanged for blight of baubled beer, to stow away on a ship sailing the line marked destiny on his hand, to walk another trail of tears beside lazy beds on the green road. Hear his voice in whispers of flight feathers that magpie, hawk, and meadowlark sound as sky symphonies to warn us that what we need to save are seed banks. And now for a little light villanelle, The Last Tree. The last tree. Where will you be when the last tree dies? First to the shelters dug deep in the ground, or caught on the motorway immune to its cries? What will happen to your dreams when the ties that held you to our primate pasts are unbound? Where will you be when the last tree dies? What will you feel at the loss of all you idolize? The gods that died for you on trees are found to have hopped the twig, immune to your cries. Sough of wood and sap, dance halls of the butterflies. From little acorns, you are the hunter's hound. Where will you be when the last tree dies? Where will you stand when the last hope lies in lost conquers, abandoned for virtual mounds, like Easter Island cannibals immune to the cries? Reconjugate the present tense of the verb to civilize. Reclaim the roads not taken, so that the ground where you will be when the last tree dies is not until the never never will you ever hear her cries. time I think, so that there are 2 more poems left, okay? Now, this poem, again, it concerns the Tune Babies. And I was researching for a long, long, long time before I finished writing this poem. And I think it was W.H. Auden who said that the truth is Catholic, the search for it is Protestant. But one thing that did happen in the reading and the research on the Tune Babies was a confusion amongst many writers and commentators as to why exactly 3 years was the number chosen of a sentence given to women to amend for their pregnancies. And one wonders that whether one believes Jesus married Mary Magdalene or not, that if you did believe that, then it would have been impossible to have been so cruel to so many women. Anyway, this is my response. I don't know. I hope you like it. It's very sad. Heavy hang the fuchsia florets in the crying rain. Not all the hoodwinking lies, nor any rational explanations either, by poetically correct in tight columns of sculpted journalese, can hide behind the weight of Watergate, which by any other name would smell as foul as the past participle of fall swapped for a present continuous, the girls to blame, no need for judge or jury. Despite the woman who knew the all of Jesus, despite the womb they fear will speak its name, despite the woman who wore Sophia's crown. When the empire said Sophia was porn, church inanity rewrote Christianity, and red became the colour of the faith, the sign of scarlet woman, and the X that marked bridal chambers and all mistakes, including the original Holy Cross. Despite the woman who wore the red robe, the mother of the family of the waters that break open alabastrons, revealing blasphemies of kleptocracies, unable to drain at a single draught the cup of the Grail's truth, and nothing but it was the times that were in it then. But long before that time the stone was thrown, despite the floods of waters flowing, were those 3-year sentences to amend, a way to mock her return to him after Tamar the Sarah in AD 33. Years ago I read that the old name for Ireland was Wolfland, and recently scientists have discovered that wolves improve ecosystems, they improve habitat, they change rivers, they decrease riverbank erosion, rivers meander less, channels deepen, and their presence increases population of countless species, and it's called traffic cascade. And wolves feature quite a bit in some of my poems, and I think it may be a good idea to reintroduce, or I do think it would be a good idea to reintroduce wolves into areas of wilderness. It might even reduce the fine that we may get from Europe for the pollution of our rivers. Use the wolves to improve them. So it's my little idea there for whatever. The title is long, and it is thought that Ireland became an island at some time between 10,000 BC and 5,700 BC. But long before that tectonic wave birthed our original origins, the Pacts tracked us on scent-marked ancient oaks, forest mulch, ohm stones, grew ears like Charon, the better to hear the howl. Girls gathering baskets of wolfsbane dream-journeyed in red coats, searching she-wolf wisdom down within, by entering an opening in stone, slipping deep below, embracing the darkness in the light. Raising muzzles, star-crooning, pack-bonded place, sharing the lore around turf fires and ring forts. The lore of all the blue and green living things, pairing she-wolf to she who chose to walk the lone path, through shifting, rustling leaves, brushing against stream doors, carved from cedar, oak, iron, silver, timber. The bridges between this world and the next arrive at places that no one had ever been before. The places of white starlight, green waterfalls, blue expanses, rocky white-tailed eagle cliffs, are places that we all have hidden deep within, where leaf wind stone play symphonies of memory, of she-wolves hunting in rhythm to the drum that beats out time in time and out of time to send wolf song across the seasons of the ages as harmonics to sound in times of discordant, when all the wolves will have forsaken the land and been forsaken in their turn, when all the fishes will have drowned in waters dirty and contaminated by fiscal balance, when all temples to trade will have been blown down by guardian ghost wolves believed extinct, when professional wolf hunters are back once more to collect the bounty on all our heads. Only then will they return to huff, puff and blow down, doors bolted shut against she-wolf dreaming awake, the need to feed the heart, to drink the blood body. Only then will deficit dissolve away to reveal the scent of black timber wolf written on your skin, marking packs of wolves met again to sing, old bone back to life on re-remembered Wolf Road. 2 syllables, singing one word, spelling out green heart.